Welcome to the Superpowers for Good show. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe, and I am excited today. We have with us Mona DeFrawi. She is the CEO and founder of Radivision, and she is doing some amazing things for entrepreneurs, and including in that scope of her work, the growing, thriving crowdfunding community. And so we're excited to have Mona on the show today. Mona, thank you so much for joining me. It's a thrill to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk to you today.
Well, you are really doing something cool at Radivision. You're sort of creating the I don't know, the discovery channel for entrepreneurs. Tell us a little bit about Radivision.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't it ridiculous that in this day and age, with all the saturated media world, there's a complete and total white space around entrepreneurship, the most popular trend on the planet today. In fact, it's not just a trend, it's the core economic paradigm, the entrepreneurial economy. And we need more than just one show, Shark Tank, which doesn't even come close to representing what we do in the industry. So it's more than time for an entire network to focus on the genre of entrepreneurship. And Radivision, for the radical visionaries, is here to help support the growth of this community and for everyone to understand and participate in the new economy.
Well, it is exciting to think about. I find that there is genuine interest in this, and it is surprising that there is not more content like this available. Tell us a little bit about how this works. Give us some examples of the sorts of shows you'll have on Radivision.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that this hasn't already happened, especially in a world where 60% of college students graduating today want to have entrepreneurial careers and they have nowhere to go. So they're going to YouTube. They're, only accessing poor quality content. None of it is specially curated. So if you go to Radivision today, radivision.com, you can join for free. And then you get behind the front wall and you can see we have 6 original series that we've produced episodes for, and another 6 series that are in development coming soon. But in addition to our original series, we also have curated content, resources, so that if you're new to the field of entrepreneurship and want to know, well, where do I go? What's the first thing I do? We have it already curated for you. So here are the top 30 newsletters. Subscribe to all of these. They're all free. And all of this information will come into your inbox every day, so you're up to date. We've curated over 100 different books so that you can very quickly access some of the best in the business. I mean, there's probably 400 or 500 published, but we've pulled the best ones for you. And we also have the podcast curated and the top players in the industry. Who are the unicorn companies? Who are the Midas list investors? And we're also building communities like SHEeconomics for women founders. We've also started a show and are curating a community for Black is the New Green for Black founders, so that more voices are heard, more innovation can come to market, more role models are available so people can see others who are just like them, who are succeeding and finding ways despite a lot of the hurdles that are currently in today's entrepreneurial economy.
Yeah, well, this is great. This is just wonderful work that you're doing. Now, I think you're also planning an event around the SHEeconomics channel you're building.
Yeah, so SHEeconomics was our first community that we started building. We co-produced our first season 1 of the SHEeconomics series with our partner TriNet Corporation, the global human resources solutions company. And we published that, or premiered it in 2022. And we've continued to build content in this space. And it's time, we've developed also several partnerships. And so it was time for us now to have a live conference during Women's History Month in March 2024. But this is also going to be a whole month-long production. The conference will be the crown jewel at the end of the month. But every day during the month of March, the flavor of the month is going to be She, and all of our content, our interviews, our Pitch Planet series, and the other shows that we're producing will be dominated by female founders, female investors, and their friends, their fans, and learning about the companies that they have. And the audience, who we're targeting around 10 million viewers to come in that month, and expecting about 40 million video views to be viewed based on our past history. We're going to feature about 100 companies on our Pitch Planet series, all with female founders, and the audience will be able to be the sharks. And if they're interested in the companies, they can click a button and go to their platforms or pages that allow them to have a conversation with the company, invest directly if they wish to do so. And we allow these direct connections with a lot of additional information available on Radivision also for people to research and understand.
Yeah, that is exciting. You know, there's so many great platforms now, not just for crowdfunding, but for accredited investors as well. There are lots of platforms now that make deals available so you can invest directly kind of at your leisure. But there is a little bit of magic missing, and it seems like Radivision might be the missing magic. What do you think?
That's what we're trying to do. We want to be the heart, the center of the wheel with all the spokes going out and connecting everyone. So our goal is to be a platform supporting all of these separate entities, all of the angel groups and all of the venture funds and all of the 80 licensed crowdfunding platforms and many more licensed broker dealers. Everybody's working so hard to get their voice out there individually. So we are here to be the cheerleader and the platform to grow a massive audience coming in that can discover all of you, all at once, and figure out which are the ones that best fit you and your profile and your interests very quickly. So it's an efficient way of getting the voice out. And our goal is to be Airbnb. We're not here to buy every house. We're not here to compete. We're here to be the platform that allows the companies and the investors and the platforms to be the hosts and share their content and what they do. And then our goal is to find all those people, the 60% of college grads and more, who want to get this information, to connect them directly, and so that these can be the guests that now can consume the content of the hosts in as efficient and as educated a way as possible. So we're not here just to entertain and cast a wide net, for everyone who wants to be entertained, but also informed about this industry. And then with one click to connect directly.
This is exciting and fun to think about. It's you've been at this, working on this now for a year or so. You're raising some serious capital.
Almost 6 years.
6 years. Okay. Excellent.
7 days a week. Full time. 2 full times, in fact.
Yeah. 2.
Yeah. This is my 4th startup. Radivision is my 4th startup. I've worked in the entrepreneurial ecosystem for 3 decades. So I started my first 10 years. I helped 4 companies go public back when companies went public at 3 to 5 years after founding. And half of our shareholders at that time were retail investors. So anybody and everybody, the public, could invest at 3 to 5 years. Today, 3 to 5 years is a series seed, so you can't even invest until an IPO at 10 to 14 years today. And by then, all the meat has been picked off the bone. So by the time it goes out to the public, the higher return on investment opportunities are long gone usually. And so the ecosystem is very different. But yeah, so our Radivision.com is not a 1.0 or an MVP. When you look at it, it's going to look a lot like Netflix and Disney Plus. So it's a very high quality media grade platform. And we also have built a social network that's connected. That's how you can, with every piece of content that's there, you can get to the founders, you can get with one click, to the company pages, collect their information, and with one more click, connect directly to them. So it's a very integrated next generation platform. And soon we'll be adding more bells and whistles, like our mobile apps coming out in the next year. We'll have an in-app camera, so it's very easy for the startups to update people regularly, so you can follow companies, hear who they've hired, hear what deals they've signed, hear what product features are coming out, keep in touch. And through partners, you'll be able to create a fantasy portfolio. So if you want to try investing for fun and see how it grows over time, and there'll be all sorts of ways to participate and learn and grow your wealth. This is how the wealth is growing. That's why there's such a separation of wealth in our country right now, because those with access to the private markets are growing 70 to 200% higher than the public markets, where everybody else's retirement money is. And they're taking the cost of living up with them. So no matter how hard you work or save and invest properly, you're never going to catch up. So we all need to be playing in this new economy.
Yeah, you're exactly right. The work you're doing is so incredibly important, and there is a phenomenon now that we see of too much disparity in opportunity and incomes, and creating a more inclusive economy that celebrates and includes women, that celebrates and includes African-American entrepreneurs is really vitally important. How did you decide to make those aspects of Radivision prominent?
Well, I mean, it was obvious. There was a special need for those audiences. And so it was easy. This was a low-hanging fruit opportunity for us. And there's a lot of activity there. Like, there were a lot of studies done studying all male teams versus a team with even one woman on it by McKinsey, BCG, Morgan Stanley Research Institute, the Private Equity Institute. I mean, it's just so many I can't even name. And we have them all listed, by the way, on radivision.com. And yet there's all this information out there, but it was never, organized in a way to become even more powerful. And so I wanted to create more change. And that was easy, but, and we're here to support everybody. And we're here to support the viewers also in being able to find what they need to find. So to me, entrepreneurship is as vast a world as the world of sports. You've got everything from yachting to golf to football, basketball, baseball. And yet there's nowhere that this is organized, covered, sliced and diced, searchable, or with intelligence to help match you to what your interests are. Because there's so much information, there's no way you can possibly consume it all. And it's literally taken me a lifetime. It's, 30 years of work in this industry to figure this out. So now I want to deliver it on a silver platter so everybody can get to it like that.
Yeah. We are so fortunate today. We're here with Mona DeFrawi. She's the CEO and founder of Radivision, and we're talking about this amazing discovery channel-like channel she's created for entrepreneurship. And so you stick around. You don't want to miss this. When she comes back, we'll ask her about her superpower. So don't miss it. Need money for your small business or startup? Learn how to raise capital on your own terms. Renowned attorney Jenny Casson will teach you how to fund your business without selling your soul. She'll share secrets learned over decades of fundraising. November 15th at 1 Eastern. Register today for free at thesupercrowd.com. Want to learn from the world's great change makers? Find your superpower. Subscribe to the Superpowers for Good newsletter at superpowersforgood.com. Make your strengths into superpowers that will change the world. Join the Super Crowd today. Superpowers4good.com. Join us at Supercrowd Baltimore to connect with community-focused business leaders and investors working to support diverse founders, social entrepreneurs, and community builders. Learn how to raise money from the crowd and how to invest like a pro. November 30th at the B&O Rail Museum. Register today at thesupercrowd.com. Welcome back, everyone. We are here with Mona DeFrawi, the CEO and founder of Radivision. Mona, you've had such an extraordinary career, working across a few years. We won't talk about how many, but you've accomplished some really remarkable things, including successful exits, venture-backed businesses, including Radivision. Now you've raised real capital for this. You're doing amazing things with tremendous content and SHEeconomics coming up in the spring. Black is the New Green. I mean, just all this great stuff that I just love and admire. In that context, let me ask you, what do you see as your superpower?
Well, luckily I have an answer for you, because I just actually asked that question with my advisors a couple of weeks ago. And we are all in agreement that my superpower is the ability to see the big picture. And I end up working on these big problems with big solutions. But like everything in life is a double-edged sword. So these are big problems, right? But when I look back on my career, because yes, I've spent 3 decades now in this industry working really hard. But when you look back, you have 20/20 hindsight. So you don't know the future, but you can easily see the past very clearly because it's already happened. And you can see the patterns in things. So this is my 3rd time now delivering solutions for the venture industry by connecting a new source of funds into the ecosystem. So in 98, I helped author a new piece of legislation on the state level in the state of Maryland, where I was the first half of my career. And it now has since brought in over 20 billion in new investment for through limited partner investments in venture capital funds. And then in 2007, when leading VCs came to me and asked me to help fix the IPO crisis, because none of their companies were going public after the internet bubble burst in 2001. And they were afraid they were going to have another, internet bubble, lemmings falling off the cliff moment. And I came up with the concept of the private markets, built the first platform, started the whole unicorn investing trend. And I have this ability to kind of see where maybe they don't have the same, independent perspective because they're in the box. They're VCs or they're an investment banker. And I've always been in and around this space, but not in the 4 walls of the box. So I have this ability not only to see the problem, but to see the solutions. And I don't do this on purpose. In fact, I tried not to start another company. These are hard and they take years to grow now. And it takes a lot of energy, especially if you're building a media network. Hulu had 100 million from day one for 10% of the company, valued at $1 billion back in 2007. And 12 years later, when Disney bought the last piece, it was valued at about 28 billion. So it was a great investment to go from 1 billion to 28. But we haven't gotten our billion yet, but we will get there. Because the world needs what we're doing very much, and we're a win-win-win-win for all the parties. So there's nothing not to like.
Yeah. Well, your superpower, that ability to see the big picture, is really powerful. And I'm sure everyone wants to be able to do this. Before we go there, though, I want to ask you if you can think of a specific instance that you can share with us that demonstrates how using that superpower helped you overcome a challenge.
For myself personally.
Yes. Professionally or personally?
Yeah, interesting. So I guess I'll go back to the private markets where the founding partner of New Enterprise Associates, which was the largest venture firm, assets under management at the time, probably still is. And he came to me and said, help fix the IPO crisis. Let's do a conference and let's have this meeting. We'll, bring in some new investors. And I immediately saw the big picture because I'd spent 10 years working with public shareholders, and the buyers of IPO allocations, and working for venture-backed companies as director of investor relations and VP of corp dev. So I had this network already. And I said, oh, well, they used to invest at 3 to 5 years. So there's no problem getting them in. The companies are just no longer public. They're private. So we need to create a way to bring these two people together. And at the time, I'm thinking, I was the IR chick in the companies, it was one of the few jobs that a woman could still have, IR and HR, I guess. This wasn't that long ago, and it hasn't changed a whole lot, but hopefully a little bit. But I think for me, I didn't even realize the power that I had and that I could make this change. And it wasn't until I was standing at the podium at the New York Stock Exchange on June 1st, 2009, ringing the bells. In my world, that was the center of the financial universe. And I was the one ringing the opening bell and announcing our own new form of IPO, pre-IPO called the HIPPO, the Hybrid Preferred Placement Private Offering. And we made such a big wave in the industry. And so recognizing that anybody has the power to do this to make this change was a big one for me because I had never seen myself in that position. I'd always been in a support role. So now with Radivision, here I am, 14 years after 2009. I have a lot more confidence. I have a lot more 2020 hindsight. And I know that I can do this. My name isn't as well known. So there's other people who may doubt. But that was the gift that I got. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
That, anyway.
Yeah. Brilliant example. Now, quickly, I want to ask how you could coach someone to do a better job of seeing the big picture, right? You do this well. And I've known you long enough to know you really do this well. How would you coach me and others that don't do this as well to see the big picture and respond and react to it appropriately?
Gosh, I don't know if you can coach people for that. It's just like Michael Jordan. He was a lousy coach, but he was one of the best ball players in the world, because he just did it without thinking about it. For me, the challenge has been the little stuff, getting on the ground. I'm in the middle of doing a legal audit right now. Like that's painful for me, but I'm really good at it. Actually, I just have to slow down to like 2 miles an hour or 3 miles an hour. But I would say if I have to coach you, it's to get out of yourself, like get out of those sides of the box and think about it differently to get the big picture. I've always thought differently. I was, political refugee at age 6 and lived in several different countries before my parents made it to the United States for over a year. And so I had to learn different languages. And during that very critical year between ages 6 and 7, I learned that there are no rules. And that when the Egyptian government told my father, no, you can't leave the country, he found a way. And so that's part of being an entrepreneur, is realizing that you're making the rules. It's kind of like Steve Jobs' famous quote. And when he realized that the world was full of all these people in positions of power that were no smarter than he was. So why shouldn't he be the one, enacting change and having his visions realized in the world? And that's exactly what he did. And we're all very grateful for it.
Yeah.
So
well, as an immigrant, you did have that interesting perspective, and you're from your parents' experience that there are no rules. And it's interesting. I'm reading the Elon Musk biography now, and it's one of his it's part of the mantra of his algorithm that he likes to talk about, is to question all the rules. And it's worked pretty well for him, I think.
Oh, yes.
You like him or not?
I don't know, the last couple of years, he's
yeah.
Maybe there should be a few rules.
Yeah. But I think what you're saying, though, is that in part, you're able to see the big picture because you've removed some of the constraints. Right? Yeah. You've said, let's not be boxed in by the parameters others are putting around us. Am I hearing you right? Do you think
a little bit?
Part of it?
I think also it's easy. Like I look at the VC world today, for example, Devin, and they all think that they're just going to ride this out and it's going to be fine. It's going to come back. They forgot that it didn't come back in 2009. We manufactured and branded the private markets and brought it back, right? And so they think it's just going to happen. And I don't see it happening by itself. And there will be an intervention, and a lot of the activity is going to go elsewhere. But when you're super successful at what you do, and already have that success, you don't have much motivation to change. And so maybe part of it is being an immigrant, being a woman, having to strive much harder, doing it backwards and in heels, like Ginger Rogers, to Fred Astaire's, that famous cartoon that was done. We have to do it backwards and in heels. He gets all the credit as the dancer, but we're working twice as hard, as women in the industry. So, we have to hustle. I've built a platform that should have cost me 4 to 5 times more in traditional venture funding, but because I didn't have the traditional venture funding that the men had, despite what I've done, I had to hustle. And so I was very creative. I built it with equity. I built it with debt. We have amazing people who've all invested time and money and energy into this. And so it's way more powerful because of that as well. It's not just money.
With just a few seconds, tell us how people can learn more and connect with you personally.
Yeah, so it's easy. Radivision.com. Check it out. All our information is there. You can learn about me on monadefrawi.com as well. And there's an email to connect me directly. LinkedIn, send me a message. And I am more than happy to help people. That's what I love. I'm a humanitarian at heart. I love creating good. And Radivision, even though it's a company and for profit, I think we can create the most good in the world through Radivision right now. So I'm honored for the opportunity to serve.
Well, great. Thank you so much for being with us. We wish you every success.
Thank you. It's great to be here, Devin. Thanks.